Hi guys. So today I'm going to share my experience of a protest I was involved with about 12 years ago. So it's just a quick warning. Could be some. Basically, it's going back to 2012. What I'll do is I'll link it up at the bottom with the description regards to the news article. So basically, this was covered by the Manchester Evening News, and yeah, so I'm going to go into it. I've written down some things that I want to cover. So yeah, I'll be explaining basically what happened. Basically, it was I was arrested by the police, and it was quite a serious issue that happened. So I'm going to be explaining why I was protesting and what it was about. So yeah, so let's get into it then. But I do want to make it short and sweet, really, as well. So here we go then. So it was in 2012. Manchester Evening News covered the story, and the story started stating, "My nightmare is over." Piccadilly Gardens activist arrested. So at that time, so I'm in my mid 30s now, but anyway, it was in 20. I was 25 years old at the time when I was arrested, and basically I'm making this video. I mean, I know it's a long time ago and that, but I'm still affected by that event that happened so long ago. Unfortunately I was injured in that arrest, and that injury is still affecting me to this day. So as I said, I'll link it up in the description. So if I was 25 years old, that's it. It was basically the Armed Forces Day, and I had a big sign, placard. There was a few other activists as well, and obviously they celebrate Armed Forces Day. We want to celebrate military and celebrate all the great things about the British thing. So obviously I was there with the sign. Actually, I don't think my sign was that offensive actually anyway, but obviously these conservatives really took it to heart. Didn't like it, and obviously complained to the police, and then the police came over and tried to threaten me. The sign was actually saying bombing for peace is like for virginity. So this is an old 60s like peace sign that I had basically, and the word was actually, I had actually made it clear. I had actually put asterisks on there, so I'd literally sort of like made sure that I didn't offend anyone by actually bleeping it out. So I made sure of that because I didn't want to offend people. And so that's the reason they came up to me basically, because that word was, they were saying that word was offensive to people, but it was bleeped out. So, and I've seen since, I remember seeing big clubs and pubs, alcoholic businesses. They were actually, they were not even bleeping it out. They were just like having the full word there, which is just, it's just insane. So think actually my sign was taken from me actually when I was arrested, and I've not had it back. And I think I wrote other things about President Bush, and I wrote a few other things about Bin Laden, and how there was a lot of unanswered questions, like was he still alive, was he not still alive. I can't remember now because it's been so long ago, back in 2012. But the point I wanted to make was that the Manchester Evening News did not cover the tooth injury. So I was injured. Basically, the police had arrested me, and I knew they didn't give me the reason why they were arresting me. And so what I did was I challenged the arrest, and I said, "Well, why are you arresting me?" Because I knew my rights, because I've been involved in other protests in the past. So basically, I challenged them and said, well, you have to give me a reason for the arrest. You can't just arrest me without giving me a reason. They refused to give me the reason. So I challenged, I basically stood, I refused to comply with them until they give me a reason. And that's, you're within your rights to challenge the police, because they're not allowed to do that. They have to give you a reason. They can't just arrest you. So this is case law now, so you can follow this case law, because I won this in the court. So I appealed. I was taken to magistrates court, and then from there I appealed it. I managed to get a solicitor, and then it was quite a big hoo-ha hassle, but the case was thrown out of court and I won the case. But the matter is that the Manchester Evening News did not cover the story properly. I'm still injured, and whilst the police were handling me in the thing, they were trying to handcuff me, and I was angry that they hadn't given me the reason for the arrest. And so looking back now, I mean, obviously I was young, 25 years old, and I didn't think clearly. But now, if I would look back, I would not have done that. But out of anger, I had ended up biting into the handcuffs. And so obviously they were using their force to try and arrest me, to handcuff me. But there was no need to handcuff me because I was inside a little box, those little boxes. So they had me in there, and I wasn't being aggressive or anything. I was just sort of asking them why they're doing that. So anyway, they forcibly handcuffed me, but I had bitten into the handcuffs, and because obviously it was an unlawful arrest, and unfortunately that's caused an injury to my mouth, and so I've been suffering with tooth pain for all these years, and I've never thought of actually taking action against the police, because I know that the police are a law unto themselves. They're above the law, you see. They think they're above the law. So, and do I have the energy and the time and everything to take the police on? So I'm just sharing this because this is my way of dealing with it, really, because I've not had any psychological support. I went to see psychologists and they refused to listen or to even talk about this. So I was fined as well for £400-500, and I haven't been refunded that money, even though I've won the case in the court and the court has thrown it out. Thanks to my solicitors, Clifford and Johnson's solicitors, especially Nikki Hall from Clifford and Johnson's. They're in Rusholme, Platt Lane. So if any activists anti-war activists, you know where to go now, in Rusholme, in Manchester. So yeah, my nightmare isn't over because I'm still in pain, and the pain comes and goes. It's worse than some days, but obviously I've been through the doctors and everything, and the painkillers don't work. But what I have found is that some home remedies do work. So I use clove. So clove can be used for toothache and tooth pains. So I use that and bite into it, and actually it really helps. And I find that it kind of takes the edge off it. But it's, I'll show you now. And you can see that whole side. That side. So that's where the handcuffs were. The handcuffs were this side and that side. So thank God, I'm lucky that none of my other teeth was damaged, but just that those two sides were damaged. And obviously it's gotten worse over the years. So, but I'm lucky that, I've got these home remedies and I can do that. What I do is I also use a natural toothpaste, and I don't use any fluoride. I don't believe in using fluoride. So that's a natural toothpaste that doesn't have any fluoride in it. And what I do is I use mouthwash tablets in the evening when I'm in a rush to get ready for bed. So I don't brush my teeth. I just use a mouthwash. So you can just use mouthwash tablets before you go to sleep. I just use one tablet and then I rinse it with warm water. And also there's something called oil pulling, which I highly recommend as well. I found that helpful. That's from Ayurvedic medicine in India. and you use sesame oil, and you just you're just swilling the oil around your mouth, and that is absolutely amazing. It prevents all kinds of issues. So, this long-term injury has been. I managed it with all these natural methods, and yeah. So, if you get a chance, you can read the MEN article. But yeah, it's been 12 years now since I've been injured, and as I said, sometimes it can be really bad, and the pain is really overwhelming, and it just stops you from track. You can't even eat sometimes. I just can't eat anything, or there's so much pain, and I'm thinking I'm about getting CBD oil just to sort of manage with the pain, just for those particular days. But it's just those certain days that it comes, and then obviously I manage it. It seems to subside, and then it gets worse again. I don't know if it's psychological or what, but it's definitely, very strong pain. Um, Anything else I need to say? Oh, that's it. In the news article, they've said that they were showing video of me getting arrested, but funnily enough, it's not on there on the news article. So have they deliberately removed that, or why aren't they showing the video on there? It's a bit weird. But what was others weird was that they'd actually done an article in 2012, and then they'd updated it in 2013. But I would argue that they need to update the article to say that I'm still injured, and I'm still suffering with the pain that the police caused me in an completely unlawful arrest. And but at least you've got solicitors out there who are the good guys, and they're willing to, it's a small company, Clifford and Johnson's, small company. So I would never recommend going to a large company. They just don't have the time and the space to deal with things. But with a small company, they've got the time, and they've got the, they care about you, smaller companies. So I would recommend the smaller companies. But yeah, for this reason, I would actually support the campaign for defunding the police. I don't believe that I think the police should be defunded. I've just did a quick search on YouTube, and it was showing all the it was showing police being injured, and not, and it was like, I was just thinking, well, I bet there's more people who've been injured by the police than the police. But obviously Google and YouTube are actually siding on the authority side, unfortunately. And on that point, that's another thing. I will be actually creating alternative platforms where you can actually join me, because YouTube and Google are owned by American interests, and they have their own karma to deal with. We have extraterrestrials who are coming now to sort out these issues. So America and Google and Facebook and all these American evil companies can deal with their own karma, because karma is coming. But anyway, yeah, so that's that. And yeah, if you've got tooth pain and toothaches, then please do follow the natural remedies. And thank you guys for listening.